Zombie cicadas. This is from Outsider.com. Can a cicada become a flying psychedelic fungus-wielding zombie? Yes they can. And thanks to 2021's 17-year brood, they're back. By the incredible work of West Virginia University researchers, we now know that cicada-bound fungus Massapora contains chemicals not unlike those in hallucinogenic mushrooms. The fungus infects the insects as they hibernate underground. Some broods, like the 13 to 17-year monsters we're experiencing in 2021, are particularly susceptible. The same fungal infection causes cicadas to lose limbs and their minds, essentially as well. Males of the species will begin mating with everything they can get their bodies on, even though, like their limbs, their genitals are in most cases long gone. Sound like a horror film yet? It isn't yet, but certainly will be in the future. The cicadas are certainly up for it. The fungus takes their bodies and minds, sure, but the insects continue to fly freely, as if they're not grotesque psychedelic insect zombies. And why not? After 2020, it's all fair game at this point.
Here's what I want to know. If I catch one, and then I squirt that fungus into my mouth, will I trip?
We got off track. I'll have to cut all this. MGMT. What were you saying about MG?
MTG.
MTG
is the shorthand for the word meeting. And right. I don't know why people don't call her meeting, because that would make people hate her more, because it would associate her with the thing that everyone fucking hates about work.
Yeah.
A work meeting is the worst thing in the world.
Well, if there was some kind of wordplay we could come up with board meeting, but bored, she's not bored. She's like nuts. Is there a nuts meeting? Is there a clown meeting?
Well, it doesn't matter. That part doesn't matter. No, it's a fucking meeting. She's making you go to a fucking meeting. Right? So it's like, yeah, your bosses that make you go to meetings are fucking crazy. Of course they are. Power hungry, fucking lunatic, the small business tyrant. Well, she is a small business tyrant as well. Right?
Yeah. Well, she's definitely been pissing people off lately. I've really been somewhat checked out to some of those stuff, but I understand that she was harassing AOC.
Dude, that was hilarious. And that wasn't even when she was, unless you're talking about something else.
She was like yelling into her mail slot or something.
No, that was before she was in office. She was just at the Capitol with a couple of yahoos.
Yeah.
And did a creepy horror movie thing into the mail slot.
That was from a long time ago?
That was from a couple of years ago.
Oh, okay.
And
like the same time when she was going around we're gonna talk to Ilhan Omar about how it's illegal to take the oath of office on the Quran.
Or even though it's not.
Right. There's wasn't there a famous president that took the oath on something other than the Bible? It was some old.
Can't remember.
I don't know. It was anyways. It wasn't that taboo until the fucking. Right-wing white supremacist extremists became so mainstream.
Yeah, I'm surprised that those people didn't lose their shit over Kristen Sinema. She's a bisexual atheist. I think she took her oath on a copy of Ishmael or Siddhartha or something. I can't remember. It's something like that.
It's like an Indigo Girls album.
Yeah, it was something. It was something, something where I was whatever. Even though, whatever, I'm nominally an atheist and whatever, bisexual atheist sounds like a great congressperson in theory. Right?
We've already been down this path.
Sure, but the point is that no one said peep about her. Okay, wait. Here's another thing. Here's another of the things, right? Uh, this fucking government commission bullshit thing, where it's like we have to figure out if COVID was a lab leak from China. Do we?
Yeah, I don't. You seeing all this stuff, and they're like, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, if they spend some money, like, looking into the actual origins of this, and maybe there's a chance that we find something that will help us prevent it from happening in the future.
Sure.
And then let the headlines talk all they want about possible lab origin. If they're exploring all options, then that means that they are open-minded about it and not just, like, fucking experimenting with bats in a lab or some shit. They're, like, actually looking into it.
Or if they're, it's like if for whatever reason, like, say, and this is what I think, this is the difference, right? I feel like what Biden just did by calling for this or whatever the fuck, it's like he's calling for the intelligence community to go figure it out, right? Which is the absolutely wrong community to go figure it out, right? You want to
never know what they will tell us.
Well, right, but you want to get it figured out? Send fucking 10 scientists and 10 historians, right? Like medical historians and infectious disease researchers.
Like people who have titles that are like 6 words long and they sound like this is the fucking thing that they have been waiting for.
Right.
Like they're like biological history of viral genealogy or some shit.
Right.
Like you were going over to
you're going and whatever, and then like laboratory safety technicians, right? You can have like 2 or 3 of those.
Food, viral, something to do with agricultural, blah 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 blah.
Right.
Like, something that any possible
agricultural disease vector expert. Right?
These people exist. You know they do.
Right.
Okay.
And they've been in college and they're just waiting. Right? Like, that's the other thing. Is that they're all fucking college professors. And all they're doing is teaching this shit to other people. And then those people are going out and they're just fucking...
Instead, we're going to send fucking, like... Pete Buttigieg's protege or whoever.
We're gonna send some fucking asshole.
Yeah, some young
CIA
HW type
fucking spook over there to go make a case for war with China. Which banging fucking job you guys have been doing at that forever, right?
Yeah.
Like
if they come back and they're like very,
it was a definite weaponized. It was on purpose.
Yeah, then you know that this is okay. All Cold War propaganda shit. Okay, speaking of Utopia, I've got a new, it's been out for a couple days, but let's go ahead and call it Breaking News.
Breaking news. Breaking news. Break the news.
Okay. Terminator-style AI drone hunted down human targets without being given orders in first attack of its kind, says report.
End all drones. Immediately now, end all drones. No more drones. They are done. Or no more drones with guns. Never mind. That's it. You can keep the drones. No more guns on the drones.
Okay, old timer, listen.
No.
A lot of our fans and listeners are cool and hip and like drones because they're cool. So just chill. Okay.
That's why I revised it to no guns on them.
The disturbing revelation has raised concerns about swarms of marauding killer weapons on the loose in war zones, which are no longer under any human control.
What the fuck?
A recent investigation by the UN panel of experts on Libya found a Turkish-made autonomous weapon, the STM Kargu-2 drone, last year, hunted down and remotely engaged retreating soldiers loyal to the Libyan general Khalifa Haftar. The drone is fitted with an explosive charge and hones in on a target in a kamikaze attack, exploding on impact.
What the fuck?
The
shit.
The lethal autonomous weapons systems were programmed to attack targets without requiring data connectivity between the operator and munition.
Fuck?
In effect, a true fire, forget, and find capability. Currently, there is no record of casualties caused by the AI war machines. But
this shit happened to somebody.
No,
And
no, these are actively flying around in Libya, and they basically get on autopilot sometimes, and they have been firing at Libyan whatever, whichever side, I don't know enough.
soldiers or whatever, combatants.
Yeah, it's been firing at the Libyan, probably the people fighting the Libyan government. I'm not sure. But either way, wow. Wow, wow, wow.
No more. No more weapons on the drones.
I mean,
no more weapons on the drones. No more weapons on the drones. Now, I guess theoretically a drone could fucking decide that it was going to kill itself taking out someone, but no to that as well. Program that out of your drone. What the fuck?
I hate to say it, but I think, honestly, I feel like Obama is partially to blame for this.
Of course he is. Of course he is.
I mean, he normalized the U.S. using drones for war crimes.
Well, can you imagine? Dude, can you imagine how fucking scary it would be to have a robot in the sky that you can't see dropping bombs on you? It would be so much fucking scarier than a person doing it.
I was reading something, it might have been that same article or a different one I saw, and they were talking about how it can't tell the difference between like a farmer swatting at it with a broom and a soldier or a, militant guy with a AK.
But why would the drone, like, this is the other thing about drones, right? Is that drones, in theory, could become so incredibly sophisticated, right, that it actually would know who the person it was firing at was.
Right now, they're saying the technology is not there.
Of course it's not.
It's not even close. They can't even tell the difference between a Toyota Camry and a Honda Accord.
If it was there, it would still be horrible and misused and etc. But this shit, where it's like half baked, and then it can also be freed.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Fuck you. There's another all of humanity thing where if you asked any person in the fucking world, like, hey, do you think drones should be able to go rogue and then fucking try to kill somebody without any fucking help?
Yeah.
It'd be like, no. Because then it might kill me.
Right, yeah. What about in a Libyan war zone?
No. It might, who knows? There could be a whole platoon of them flying across the ocean to decide to come get me.
Yeah.
Like, basic self-preservation tells you don't let just plain old robot computers who aren't being controlled by any people go killing people. Any people.
Right.
Like, oh, if it accidentally got Bin Laden or whatever the fuck, oh, congratulations. That could have just as easily not been that person. pantheon of like anti-China, pro-China, online left argument stuff.
Yeah.
One of the pro-China things was that, and again, no fucking idea. No idea how true this is at all. Something that I heard was that the Chinese are repressing the Uyghur Muslims because a shitload of them joined ISIS and like went and fought and came back, right? And it would be like if, you know, a bunch of American Muslims went and fought with ISIS and then came back, right? What we keep those people in Guantanamo Bay, right? We're oppressing them every bit as much, right? Like,
Yeah.
so in that sense, it's like, sure, if that's true, I mean, I hadn't even thought about it, right? Like, but then again, well, if you're a Muslim and you're in an oppressive country that's oppressive towards Muslims, it's like, that's a chicken or the egg thing. It's like, well, which thing happened? I would never know ever, and neither would you, white fucking neckbeard, you know, with the fucking Chinese flag behind you, right? Like that's the thing that to get back to the.
I mean, it boils down. There's no is China good, China bad, you know. Like,
China is.
Yeah, China, just like the U.S. Is the U.S. good? Is the U.S. bad? Like, well, I can talk all day about how bad it is.
And I
but I can
talk,
also talk about all the good things. I mean, fuck, I'm sitting here vaccinated, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I have a job and our economy's recovering and shit. I can't say that things here are horrible right now. The material conditions are awful, blah, 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 blah. But, but I mean, and the same thing with China. You know, their economy is doing really well. They have not been fucking bombing the shit out of a bunch of other countries for the past 50 years like we have.
Yeah.
They have maybe been influencing in elections and that kind of shit, but
way
less to the extent than we have.
They've been buying Africa with the same IMF fucking,
they do the same kind of like NGO monetary fund, you know,
hitman bullshit.
Sort of like they're doing capitalism better than the U.S. is doing capitalism right now.
Yeah.
But because they have the Communist Party, no one will call them capitalists, or a lot of people won't call them capitalists, but they're state capitalism, some sort of blend between state capitalism and state socialism. It's not communism. It's not even democratic socialism or anything like that. It's basically authoritarian social state that practices state capitalism.
Right.
And they're doing pretty damn good in the world right now as far as making their country better. So I mean, I'm 100% against, you know, human rights violations. I'm sure China does that shit all the time.
From anywhere,
but
that has to be said very loudly.
Yeah.
Right? It's like,
I don't know nearly enough about what's going on over in China, but I do know quite a bit about, you know, police brutality here in America,
right?
Things like that.
Well,
so
and
that's why I spend my time thinking about that shit.
Well, and I also know that a bunch of fucking Yahoo idiots have been attacking people in America for being Asian, right? So yeah, now really not the greatest time to be fucking talking shit about an Asian country at all, period, for any reason.
The government is lying to you. The media is lying to you. Your racist aunt on Facebook is definitely lying to you.
She doesn't think she is.
If you are in need of a trustworthy source of facts and truth, subscribe to Special Interest Coup.
So speaking of Republicans, here's another one. I think this has been in the news for a week or two now, but this article's from a couple days ago, from the Chicago Tribune. Lawmakers in Republican-controlled states move to limit teaching about race and racism.
Oh, yeah. They already did that?
And also slavery, too, I heard from a different source.
Yeah. They already did that in Oklahoma or somewhere.
Yeah.
And
Texas is another one they're trying to do.
I just read a thing about how, like, whatever, like, Oklahoma teachers of all kinds, or whatever, like, history teachers and shit, are like, we don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, you can't do it to a degree, right?
There's
like,
actually a lot of states. There's like 10 or 12 states that are, like, doing similar type of
and
things.
so what I said, right, aside from, like, the insult of it, where it's like, how dare you fucking tell you free speech warrior my ass, you fucking insane lunatics who are absolutely not even thinking about how this would be in practice, right? It's the same thing with, like, those like bathroom bills and, like, the fucking, you know, all the trans limitation shit. It's like, you have no idea what this means at all, right? Like, these are just buzzwords to you. You have no idea what this would be in practice. And in the case of, like, the bathroom stuff, it's like, you literally can't do this.
The problem is that there's been so much propaganda mixed in with education over the past 150 years or whatever, longer than that education and just kind of like anything regarding history and political ideology to a certain extent, but mostly history, it's been so whitewashed and propagandized that and there's been an attempt by the academic community to, you know,
Stop.
Yeah, basically unwhitewash it, like bring back the history. And you see things like the Tulsa race massacre is now kind of like a mainstream subject. There's like TV shows coming out about it. It's the 100-year anniversary tomorrow, I think. But it's like this kind of thing, you know, there's been a very strong push by the academic community to try and bring light to a lot of these horrible things in our past and our history. And the reactionary response is reactionary 100%. Is no, we have to make sure it's more propagandized, because look how left-leaning all these young people are. Obviously, the schools are doing this to them, you know, like,
yeah.
It's such a joke.
I have there's two things I have to say about that. And they're both like, it's like, I don't know how they're not obvious to everyone, including, like, your most Kool-Aid drinking Republican, right? Number one is just call it something else, right? Like, there's, like, specific, like, bans on, like, critical race theory and, like, whatever the fuck else shit, that kind of shit, right? It's like, well, just call it something else. Just call it, like, you know, call it fucking, melanin-based history or some shit, right? Like, fuck around, right? Like, it's like, I have no idea how this is enforceable other than that, like, you know, in the course curriculum for your upcoming collegiate semester, right, there isn't a critical race history class or whatever, right? But I don't get how, number one, I don't get how anybody the fuck could fucking be like, no, you can't teach this stuff in history class. It's like, well, yes, I can. I can say whatever the fuck I want. It doesn't have to be under this rubric of being critical race theory or whatever else. But it's like, but this is a thing that happened, so it's just history, right? So whatever. Okay, fine. We'll take all qualifiers off, and now it's just history, and I can say whatever I want because it's fucking history.
Well, on a lighter note, have you heard the recent news about Joe Biden at this military base?
Oh, he tried to do the Reagan joke?
What?
He tried to do the whatever. It was something like, I don't remember. I saw a clip of it, but it's like, I thought it was like from a while ago. I don't, whatever. Reagan did a joke that was like something like, you know, the Coast Guard is the warm nucleus that the Navy rallies around when it's time for war, or something like that. Like,
no, this wasn't.
He tried to do that. Point was that he tried to do that same joke, but he fucked it up, and then he yelled at the crowd for not laughing.
Well, okay, this is even worse. Brace yourself.
Oh, God.
This is a headline from, I'm guessing, some right-leaning, no, maybe not, I don't know. This is from a...
What's the name?
Website called meaw.com.
What?
It seems to be more of like a pop culture kind of thing. I don't know. Anyways, the headline. Creepy Joe Biden trolled for saying elementary school girl looks 19 sitting with her legs crossed, quote unquote.
What? Dude, don't say anything to any little girls, Joe. Have you not learned anything from your whole life?
Okay, so here's this. Let me just skip ahead to. It said, introducing the president to okay.
Garbage fucker.
Biden said, I'm especially honored to have this family on stage. And then he looks and says, I love those berets in your hair.
Oh.
Or barrettes or whatever you say.
God.
Man, I tell you what, look at her. She looks like she's 19 years old, sitting there like a little lady with her legs crossed.
Oh. I mean, like, I get, like, in a very broad, like, if I was being generous to hair-sniffing Joe Biden, I would be like, that's just some grandpa shit,
Right,
whatever.
but that's the problem, is, like, no one's gonna be generous, and
including me.
He's already like known for like being creepy like that, and then why are you gonna like you just can't tone it down, like, or he's like fuck
or
it,
shut the fuck up.
He's like, fuck it, I'm president now. Like I'm not even gonna all that toning down I was trying to do on the campaign trail
that he wasn't trying to do, by the way. He's incapable of doing it. I'm utterly convinced of that. Like, because he wasn't good at not saying stupid shit when his brain was fully functional, right?
Well,
he's even less able to fucking stop himself from fucking being insane and weird than he was before.
Yeah, it's already like a meme, like that, like him doing that kind of thing is already a meme, and he.
And if he knew how to use the interwebs, then he would know that.